Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another 5-Minute Stories. I'm Miss Ashley, and I'm so excited that spring is coming. When I think of spring, I think of bugs. I think of grasshoppers, and I think of ants. Did you see what I did with my fingers right now? I just showed you the sign for grasshopper. Just take your 2 bunny ears and hop them boing, boing, boing up your arm, grasshopper. An ant, you have your ant body and your little wiggly legs, and you crawl them across the floor. Ant. Oh, and I have the perfect story for you. It's called The Ant and the Grasshopper, and it goes like this. Once upon a time, at the bottom of a forest floor where it was all green and brown from the leaves and the bark and the dirt and the trees, there lived 2 kinds of insects. There was the lazy grasshopper, and when I say lazy, oh, he was very lazy. He didn't want to do anything. He slept till noon, and when he woke up, he didn't want to work at all. He just wanted to rub his legs together and make beautiful, sweet music all day long, because that made him happy. And then there was another insect. There was the grumpy ant. And he was so grumpy because he had to work all day. Every morning he would wake up just as the sun was reaching the sky, and he would crawl up out of his anthill and he would go in search for food, because he knew something very important, that the beautiful warmth of spring would not last. Pretty soon it would be summer, and then autumn would come with a brisk wind, and right behind autumn would be winter with its blanket of cold, icy snow. And the ant knew that when it snowed in the forest, there wouldn't be any food growing on the trees because all the plants would go to sleep. So he would get up every morning and he would go get food, and he would get the biggest bananas he could find, the biggest apples and the biggest pears, and he would work with his ant brothers, lifting these heavy, heavy fruits, carrying them through the forest and down into his ant tunnels where he would store them for the winter. And every time he passed that grasshopper, just rubbing his legs together, singing the days away, the grasshopper would laugh. Look at those ants working so hard. We have plenty of time before winter comes. I'll gather food later. And the ant, who was very grumpy, would look at the grasshopper and shake his head and say, that grasshopper is not going to be happy during winter when he doesn't have any food. And every day it continued like this, on through spring, and then in summer, the ant would get up every morning, go out to get his food in the hot sun, and bring it back to store for winter. And the grasshopper would wake up at noon, come out on his tree branch and choot, 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 sing his song. And then right after summer came fall with a brisk wind, and the food started to go away a little bit. There was less and less, and the grasshopper realized that he better start gathering his food for the winter. So on he went, hopping through the forest, grabbing whatever food he could find to store for winter. But there wasn't much of it, and fall seemed very short this year as winter came right on its heels with its blanket of icy white snow, and it covered the whole forest. Gone were the greens and the browns, and over all that were the crystal white. And the ants were ready. They snuggled down deep in their anthill, and they were sound asleep. And until they heard a very sad song. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. And when the ant came up out of the anthill to see what it was, he saw the grasshopper singing his sad song. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, there isn't any food. How will I get through winter? And you know that grumpy ant, he started to feel sad for the grasshopper. And so he offered him some food, because he knew that the ants had extra food that they were saving for the winter. And so the grasshopper was able to make it through winter, and he learned a very important lesson. So as spring came through after the snow and started to warm up, the snow melted, the grass started to grow again, and all of the trees began to bear fruit. The grasshopper woke up every morning, and he joined his ant friend, and they went out into into the forest to gather the food and store it for winter because they knew that spring would not last forever and winter would be coming back soon. And the ant learned a very important lesson too. As he worked with the grasshopper would sing songs as they went through the forest, and that grumpy ant wasn't so grumpy anymore. He started to feel happy because he had music and someone to talk to while he was working. And every once in a while, that lazy grasshopper would convince the ant to take a break with him and enjoy some sweet music and maybe a strawberry or two. And they were both happy as a result. And that's the end of the story. And here is your literacy tip for this week. This short story is an adaptation of The Ant and the Grasshopper from Aesop's Fables. The moral lesson is all about being prepared and the wisdom of finding balance in life. If we work hard and plan for the future, we won't find ourselves in the grasshopper's position, relying on others. However, the ants also learn an important lesson from the grasshopper. During the summer, the ant is not happy because he works tirelessly and doesn't give himself a break. This story reminds us that it's important to remember there's a time for work and a time for play, and we need to get the balance right to find happiness. One way we can do this is by setting daily routines in our own lives. Research shows that keeping a manageable routine helps children feel safe, develop life skills, and build healthy habits. In turn, routines help parents feel organized, reduce family stress, and make time for fun and relaxing activities. Don't forget, a good routine is simple, regular, and predictable, and most importantly, includes a set time for reading together. Happy reading!